The second book of the Chronicles of the King James Version Bible, and we're starting off with chapter 14. So Abijah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David. And Asa his son reigned in his stead. In his days the land was quiet 10 years. And Asa did that which was good and right in the eyes of Mighty God AHAYAH, his Elohim. For he took away the altars of the strange gods and the high places, and brake down the images, and cut down the groves, and commanded Judah to seek Mighty God AHAYAH their Elohim of their fathers, and to do the law of the commandment. Also he took away out of all the cities of Judah the high places and the images, and the kingdom was quiet before him. And he built fenced cities in Judah, for the land had rest, and had no war in those years, because Mighty God AHAYAH had given him rest. Therefore he said unto Judah, Let us build these cities, and make about them walls, and towers, gates, and bars, while the land is yet before us. Because we have sought Mighty God AHAYAH our Elohim, we have sought him, and he had given us rest on every side. So they built and prospered. And Asa had an army of men that bare targets and spears out of Judah, 300,000, and out of Benjamin that bare shields and drew bows, 280,000. All these were mighty men of valor. And there came out against them Zerah the Ethiopian, with an host of 1,300 chariots, and came into Marishah. Then Asa went out against him, and they set the battle in array in the valley of Zephathah and Marishah. And Asa cried unto the Mighty God AHAYAH his Elohim, and Mighty God AHAYAH said, It is nothing with thee to help, whether with many or with them that have no power. Help us, O Mighty God AHAYAH our Elohim, for we rest on thee, and in thy name we go against this multitude. O Mighty God AHAYAH, thou art our mighty God, let not man prevail against thee. So Mighty God AHAYAH smote the Ethiopians before Asa and before Judah, and the Ethiopians fled. And Asa and the people that were with him pursued them unto Gerar, and the Ethiopians were overthrown, that they could not recover themselves. For they were destroyed before Mighty God AHAYAH and before his host, and that they carried away very much spoil. And they smote all the cities round about Gerar, for the fear of Mighty God AHAYAH came upon them, and they spoiled all the cities, for there was exceeding much spoil in them. They smote also the tents of cattle, and carried away sheep and camels in abundance, and returned to Jerusalem. Chapter 15. And the spirit of Mighty God AHAYAH came unto Azariah the son of Oded. And he went out to meet Asa, and said unto him, Hear you me, Asa, and all Judah and Benjamin. Mighty God AHAYAH is with you while you be with him, and if you seek him, he will be found of you. But if you forsake him, he will forsake you. Now for a long season Israel had been without the true God, and without a teaching priest, and without law. But when they in their trouble did turn unto Mighty God AHAYAH their Elohim, the Mighty God of Israel, and sought him, he was found of them. And in those times there was no peace in him that went out, nor to him that came in, but great vexations were upon all the inhabitants of the countries. And nations was destroyed of nation, and city of city, for Mighty God AHAYAH did vex them with all adversity. Be you strong, therefore, and let not your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded. And when Asa heard these words and the prophecy of Oded the prophet, he took courage and put away the abominable idols out of all the land of Judah and Benjamin, and out of all the cities which he had taken from Mount Ephraim, and renewed the altar of Mighty God AHAYAH that was before the porch of AHAYAH. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin, and the strangers with them, out of Ephraim and Manasseh, and out of Simeon, for they fell to him out of Israel in abundance, when they saw that Mighty God AHAYAH his Elohim was with him. So they gathered themselves together at Jerusalem in the 3rd month, in the 15th year of the reign of Asa. And they offered unto Mighty God AHAYAH the same time of the spoil which they had brought, 700 oxen and 7,000 sheep. And they entered into a covenant to seek Mighty God AHAYAH El Elohi of their fathers with all their heart and with all their soul, that whosoever would not seek Mighty God AHAYAH El Elohi of Israel should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. And they swear unto Mighty God AHAYAH with a loud voice, and with shouting, and with trumpets, and with cornets. And all Judah rejoiced at the oath, for they had sworn with all their heart, and sought him with their whole desire. And he was found of them, and Mighty God AHAYAH gave them rest round about. And also concerning Maacah, the mother of Asa the king, he removed her from being queen, because she had made an idol in a grove, and Asa cut down her idol, and stamped it, and burned it at the brook Kidron. But the high places were not taken away out of Israel. Nevertheless, the heart of Asa was perfect in all his days. And he brought into the house of Mighty God AHAYAH the thing that his father had dedicated, and that he himself had dedicated, silver and gold in vessels. And there was no more war until the 35th year of the reign of Asa. Chapter 16. In the 36th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha king of Israel came up against Judah, and built Ramah, to the intent that he might be let none go out of come into Asa king of Judah. Then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, and of the king's house, and sent to Benhadad, king of Syria, that dwelt at Damascus, saying, There is a league between me and thee, as there was between my father and thy father. Behold, I have sent thee silver and gold. Go break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from thee. And Benhadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel. And they smote Ajon, and Dan, and Abel-Maim, and all the store cities of Naphtali. And it came to pass, when Baasha heard it, that he left off building of Ramah, and let his work cease. Then Asa the king took all Judah, and they carried away the stones of Ramah, and the timber thereof, wherewith Baasha was building, and he built wherewith Geba and Mizpah. And at the time Hanani the seer came to Asa king of Judah, and said unto him, Because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, and not relied on Mighty God AHAYAH thy El Elohi, therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thine hand. Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubims a huge host, with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet because thou didst rely on Mighty God AHAYAH, he delivered them into thine hand. The eyes of Mighty God AHAYAH run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Wherein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars. Then Asa was wroth with the seer, and put him in a prison house, for he was in a rage with him because of this thing. And Asa oppressed some of the people the same time. And behold, the acts of Asa, first and last, lo, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. And Asa in the 39th year of his reign was diseased in his feet, until his disease was exceeding great. Yet in his disease he sought not to Mighty God AHAYAH, but to the physicians. And Asa slept with his fathers, and died in the 41st year of his reign. And they buried him in his own sepulchre, which he had made for himself in the city of David, and laid him in the bed which was filled with sweet herbs and divers kinds of spices, prepared by the apothecary's art. And they made a very great burning for him. Chapter 17. And Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his stead, and strengthened himself against Israel. And he placed forces in all the fenced cities of Judah, and set garrisons in the land of Judah, and in the cities of Ephraim, which Asa his father had taken. Mighty God AHAYAH was with Jehoshaphat, because he walked in the first ways of his father David, and sought not unto Baalim, but sought to Mighty God AHAYAH, Elohim of his father, and walked in his commandments, and not after the doings of Israel. Therefore Mighty God AHAYAH established the kingdom in his hand. And all Judah brought to Jehoshaphat presents, and he had riches and honor in abundance. And his heart was lifted up in the ways of Mighty God AHAYAH. Moreover, he took away the high places and groves out of Judah. Also in the 3rd year of his reign, he sent to his princes, even to Benhail, and to Obadiah, and to Zechariah, and to Nathaniel, and to Micaiah, to teach in the cities of Judah. And with them he sent Levites, even Shemaiah, and Nethaniah, and Zebediah, and Asael, and Shemiramoth, and Jehonathan, and Adonijah, and Tobijah, and Tobin-Adonijah, Levites, and with them Elishama and Jehoram, priest. And they taught in Judah, and had the book of the law of Mighty God AHAYAH with them, and went about throughout all the cities of Judah, and taught the people. And the fear of Mighty God AHAYAH fell upon the kingdoms of the lands that were round about Judah, so that they made no war against Jehoshaphat. Also some of the Philistines brought Jehoshaphat presents and tribute, silver, and the Arabians brought him flocks, 7,700 rams, and 7,700 he-goats. And Jehoshaphat waxed great exceedingly, and he built in Judah castles and cities of store. And he had much business in the city of Judah, and the men of war, mighty men of valor, were in Jerusalem. And these are the numbers of them according to the house of their fathers. Of Judah the captains of 1,000, Adnah the chief, and with him mighty men of valor 300,000. And next to him was Johanan the captain, and with him 280,000. And next him was Amasiah the son of Zichri, who willingly offered himself unto Mighty God AHAYAH, and with him 200,000 mighty men of valor. And of Benjamin, Eliashda, a mighty man of valor, and with him armed men with bow and shield, 200,000. And next him was Jehoshaphat, and with him 180,000 ready prepared for the war. These waited on the king, beside those whom the king put in the fenced cities throughout all Judah. Chapter 18. Now Jehoshaphat had riches and honor in abundance, and joined affinity with Ahab. And after certain years he went down to Ahab to Samaria. And Ahab killed sheep and oxen for him in abundance, and for the people that he had with him, and persuaded him to go up with him to Ramoth Gilead. And Ahab, king of Israel, said unto Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, Wilt thou go with me to Ramoth Gilead? And he answered him, I am as thou art, and my people as thy people, and we will be with thee in the war. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of Mighty God AHAYAH today. Therefore the king of Israel gathered together of prophets 400 men, and said unto them, Shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? They said, Go up, for Mighty God AHAYAH will deliver it into the king's hand. But Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of Mighty God AHAYAH, besides that we might inquire of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, by whom we may inquire of Mighty God AHAYAH. But I hate him, for he never prophesied good unto me, but always evil. The same is Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. The king of Israel called for one of his officers, and said, Fetch quickly Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, set either of them on his throne, clothed in their robes, and they sat in a void place at the entering in of the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zedekiah, the son of Cheniah, had made him horns of iron, and said, Thus said Mighty God AHAYAH, With these thou shalt push Syria until they be consumed. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for Mighty God AHAYAH shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And the messengers that went to call Micaiah spake to him, saying, Behold, the words of the prophets declare good to the king with one accent. Let thy word therefore, I pray thee, be like one of theirs, and speaketh thou good. And Micaiah said, As Mighty God AHAYAH liveth, even what my Elohim said, that will I speak. And when he was come to the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And he said, Go you up, and prosper, and they shall be delivered into your hand. The king said to him, How many times shall I adjure that thou say nothing but the truth to me in the name of AHAYAH? Then he said, I did see all Israel scattered upon the mountains, as sheep that have no shepherd. And Mighty God AHAYAH said, These have no master. Let them return therefore every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell thee that he would not prophesy good unto me, but evil? Again he said, Therefore hear the word of Mighty God AHAYAH. I saw Mighty God AHAYAH sitting upon his throne, and all the host of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left. And Mighty God AHAYAH said, Who shall entice Ahab, king of Israel, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one spake, saying after this manner, and another saying after that manner. Then there came out a spirit, and stood before AHAYAH, and said, I will entice him. And Mighty God AHAYAH said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And Mighty God AHAYAH said, Thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. Now therefore, behold, Mighty God AHAYAH had put a lying spirit in the mouth of these thy prophets, and Mighty God AHAYAH had spoken evil against thee. Then Zedekiah the son of Cheniah, Cheniah came near and smote Micaiah upon the cheek, and said, Which way went the spirit of Mighty God AHAYAH from me to speak unto thee? And Micaiah said, Behold, thou shalt see on that day when thou shalt go into an inner chamber to hide thyself. Then the king of Israel said, Take ye Micaiah, and carry him back to Ammon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son, and say, Thus said the king, Put this fellow in the prison, and feed him with bread in affliction, and with water of affliction, until I return in peace. And Micaiah said, If thou certainly return in peace, then had not Mighty God AHAYAH spoken by me? And he said, Hearken all you people. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself, and will go to the battle, but put thou on thy robes. So the king of Israel disguised himself, and they went to the battle. Now the king of Syria had commanded the captains of the chariots that were with him, saying, Fight you not with small or great, save only with the king of Israel. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, It is the king of Israel. Therefore they compassed about him to fight. But Jehoshaphat cried out, and Mighty God AHAYAH helped him, and Mighty God AHAYAH moved them to depart from him. For it came to pass that when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel, they turned back again from pursuing him. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture, and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. Therefore he said to his chariot man, Turn thine hand, that thou mayest carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. The battle increased that day. Howbeit the king of Israel stayed himself up in his chariot against the Syrians until the even, and about the time of the sun going down he died. Chapter 19. And Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, returned to his house in peace to Jerusalem. And Jehu, the son of Hanani the seer, went out to meet him, and said to King Jehoshaphat, Shouldest thou help the ungodly and love them that hate Mighty God AHAYAH? Therefore is wrath upon thee from before Mighty God AHAYAH. Nevertheless there are good things found in thee, in that thou hast taken away the groves out of the land, and hast prepared thine heart to seek Mighty God AHAYAH. And Jehoshaphat dwelt at Jerusalem, and he went out again through the people from Beersheba to Mount Ephraim, and brought them back into Mighty God AHAYAH, Elohim of their fathers. And he set judges in the land throughout all the fenced cities of Judah, city by city, and said to the judges, Take heed what you do, for you judge not for man, but for Mighty God AHAYAH, who is with you in the judgment. Wherefore now let the fear of Mighty God AHAYAH be upon you. Take heed and do it, for there is no iniquity with Mighty God AHAYAH, our Elohim, nor respect of persons, nor taking of gifts. Moreover, in Jerusalem did Jehoshaphat set up the Levites, and of the priests, and of the chief of the fathers of Israel, for the judgment of the Mighty God AHAYAH, and for controversies when they returned to Jerusalem. And he charged them, saying, Thus shall you do in the fear of Mighty God AHAYAH, faithfully and with a perfect heart. And what cause soever shall come to you of your brethren that dwell in their cities, between blood and blood, between law and commandment, statutes and judgments, you shall even warn them that they trespass not against AHAYAH, and so wrath come upon you and upon your brethren. This do, and you shall not trespass. And behold, Amariah the chief priest is over you in all matters of Mighty God AHAYAH, and Zebadiah the son of Ishmael, the ruler of the house of Judah. For all the king's matters also the Levites shall be officers before you. Deal courageously, and Mighty God AHAYAH shall be with you, the good. Chapter 20. It came to pass after this also that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them other beside the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle. Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, There cometh a great multitude against thee from beyond the sea on this side Syria. Behold, they be in Hazazon Tamar, which is in Gedi. And Jehoshaphat feared, and set himself to seek Mighty God AHAYAH, and proclaim the fast throughout all Judah. And Judah gathered themselves together to ask help of Mighty God AHAYAH. Even out of all the cities of Judah they came to seek AHAYAH. Jehoshaphat stood in the congregation of Judah and Jerusalem in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH before the new court, and said, O Mighty God AHAYAH, Elohim of our fathers, art not thou Mighty God in heaven? And rulest not thou over all the kingdoms of the heaven, of the heathen? And in thine hand is there not power and might, so that none is able to withstand thee? Art not thou our mighty God, who didst drive out the inhabitants of this land before thy people Israel, and gavest it to the seed of Abraham thy friend forever? And they dwelt therein, and have built thee a sanctuary therein for thy name, saying, If when evil cometh upon us, as the sword, judgment, or pestilence, or famine, we stand before this house, and in thy presence, for thy name is in this house, and cry unto thee in our affliction, then thou wilt hear and help. And now behold, the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, whom thou wouldest not let Israel invade when they came out of the land of Egypt, but they turned from them and destroyed them not. Behold, I say, how they reward us to come to cast us out of thy possession, which thou hast given us to inherit it. O our mighty God AHAYAH, wilt thou not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that cometh against us. neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon thee. And all Judah stood before Mighty God AHAYAH with their little ones, their wives, and their children. Then upon Jahaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Jael, the son of Mattaniah, and a Levite, of the sons of Asaph, came the Spirit of Mighty God AHAYAH in the midst of the congregation. And he said, Hearken you, all Judah, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Jehoshaphat. Thus says Mighty God AHAYAH unto you, Be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but Mighty God AHAYAH's. Tomorrow go you down against them. Behold, they come up by the cliff of Ziz, and you shall find them at the end of the brook, before the wilderness of Jeruel. You shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand you still, and see the salvation of Mighty God AHAYAH with you. O Judah and Jerusalem, fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for Mighty God AHAYAH will be with you. Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell before Mighty God AHAYAH, worshipping AHAYAH, Mighty God. The Levites of the children of the Kohathites and of the children of the Korahites stood up to praise Mighty God AHAYAH, El Elohi of Israel, with a loud voice on high. And they rose early in the morning and went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, Hear me, O Judah, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in Mighty God AHAYAH, your El Elohi, so shall you be established. Believe his prophets, so shall you prosper. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed singers unto Mighty God AHAYAH, and that should praise the beauty of his holiness as they went out before the army, and to say, Praise AHAYAH, for his mercy endureth forever. And when they began to sing and to praise AHAYAH, set ambushment against the children of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, which were come against Judah, and they were smitten. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, every one helped to destroy another. And when Judah came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked into the multitude, and behold, there were dead bodies fallen to the earth, and none escaped. And when Jehoshaphat his people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them in abundance both riches with the dead bodies, and precious jewels, which they stripped off for themselves more than they could carry away. And they were 3 days in gathering of the spoil, it was so much. And on the 4th day they assembled themselves in the valley of Berakah, for they that blessed Mighty God AHAYAH. Therefore the name of the same place was called the valley of Berakah unto this day, or Berakah. Then they returned, every man of Judah and Jerusalem and Jehoshaphat in the forefront of them, to go against to Jerusalem with joy, for Mighty God AHAYAH had made them to rejoice over their enemies. And they came to Jerusalem with psalteries and harps and trumpets unto the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. And the fear of Mighty God AHAYAH was on all the kingdoms of those countries, when they had heard of Mighty God AHAYAH fought against the enemies of Israel. So the realm of Jehoshaphat was quiet, for his mighty God gave him rest round about. And Jehoshaphat reigned over Judah, and he was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother name was Azabah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in the way of Asa his father, and departed not from it, doing that which was right in the sight of Mighty God AHAYAH. Howbeit the high places were not taken away, for as yet the people had not prepared their hearts unto Mighty God AHAYAH of their fathers. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of Jehu, the son of Hanani, who is mentioned in the book of the kings of Israel. And after this did Jehoshaphat king of Judah join himself with Ahaziah king of Israel, who did very wickedly. And he joined himself with him to make ships to go to Tarshish, and they made the ships in Azangaber. Then Eleazar the son of Dodavah and Merishah prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, Because thou hast joined thyself with Ahaziah, the mighty God AHAYAH has broken thy works. And the ships were broken, that they were not able to go to Tarshish. Chapter 21. Now Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Jehoram his son reigned in his stead. And he had brethren, the sons of Jehoshaphat, Azariah and Jahael, and Zechariah and Azariah, and Michael and Shephatiah. All these were the sons of Jehoshaphat, king of Israel. And their fathers gave them great gifts of silver and of gold, and of precious things with fenced cities in Judah. But the kingdom gave he to Jehoram, because he was the firstborn. Now when Jehoram was risen up to the kingdom of his father, he strengthened himself, and slew all his brethren with the sword, and divers also of the princes of Israel. Jehoram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, like as did the house of Ahab, for he had the daughter of Ahab to wife, and he wrought that which was evil in the eyes of Mighty God AHAYAH. Howbeit Mighty God AHAYAH would not destroy the house of David, because of the covenant that he had made with David, and as he promised to give a light to him and to his sons forever. In his days the Edomites revolted from under the dominion of Judah, and made themselves a king. Then Joram went forth with his princes, and all his chariots with him. And he rose up by night, and smote the Edomites, which compassed him in, and the captains of the chariots. So the Edomites revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. The same time also did Libnah revolt from under his hand, because he had forsaken Mighty God AHAYAH, the mighty God of his fathers. Moreover, he made high places in the mountains of Judah, and caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to commit fornication, and compelled Judah thereto. And there came a writing to him from Elijah the prophet, saying, Thus says Mighty God AHAYAH, the Elohim of David thy father, because thou hast not walked in the ways of Jehoshaphat thy father, nor in the ways of Asa king of Judah, but hast walked in the way of the kings of Israel, and hast made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to go a-whoring like to the whoredoms of the house of Ahab, and also hast slain thy brethren of thy father's house, which were better than thyself. Behold, with a great plague will Mighty God AHAYAH smite thy people and thy children, and thy wives, and all thy goods. And thou shalt have great sickness by disease of the bowels, until thy bowels fall out by reason of the sickness day by day. Moreover, Mighty God AHAYAH stirred up against Jehoram the spirit of the Philistines, and of the Arabians that were near the Ethiopians. And they came up into Judah, and brake into it, and carried away all the substance that was found in the king's house, and his sons also, and his wives, so that there was never a son left him, save Jehoahaz, the youngest of his sons. And after all this, Mighty God AHAYAH smote him in his bowels with an incurable disease. And it came to pass that in process of time, after the end of 2 years, his bowels fell out by reason of his sickness. So he died of a sore disease. And his people made no burning for him like the burning of his fathers. 32 years old was he when he began to reign. And he reigned in Jerusalem 8 years, and departed without being desired. Howbeit they buried him in the city of David, but not in the sepulchres of the kings. Chapter 22. And the inhabitants of the Jerusalem made Ahaziah his youngest son king in his stead. For the band of men that came with the Arabians to the camp had slain all the elders. So Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, king of Judah, reigned. 42 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. He also walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother was his counselor to do wickedly. Wherefore he did evil in the sight of Mighty God AHAYAH, like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. He walked also after their counsel, and went with Jehoram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, to war against Hazael, king of Syria, at Ramoth Gilead. And the Syrians smote Joram. And he returned to be healed in Jezreel, because of the wounds which were given him at Ramah, when he fought with Hazael, king of Syria. And Azariah, the son of Joram, king of Judah, went down to see Joram, the son of Ahab, at Jezreel, because he was sick. And the destruction of Azariah was of Mighty God AHAYAH by coming to Joram. For when he was come, he went out with Joram against Jehu, the son of Nimshi, whom Mighty God AHAYAH had anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. And it came to pass that when Jehu was executing judgment upon the house of Ahab, and found the princes of Judah and the sons of the brethren of Azariah that ministered to Ahaziah, he slew them. And he sought Ahaziah, and they caught him, for he was hid in Samaria, and brought him to Jehu. And when they had slain him, they buried him, because said they, he is the son of Jehoshaphat, who sought Mighty God AHAYAH with all his heart. So the house of Ahaziah had no power to keep still the kingdom. But when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal of the house of Judah. But Jehushabeath, the daughter of the king, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons that were slain, and put him and his nurse in a bedchamber. So Jehoshabeath, the daughter of King Jehoram, the wife of Jehoiada, the priest, for she was the sister of Ahaziah, hid him from Athaliah, so that she slew him not, and was with them hid in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH 6 years. And Athaliah reigned over the land. Chapter 23. And in the 7th year Jehoiada strengthened himself, and took the captains of hundreds, Azariah the son of Joram, and Ishmael the son of Johanan, and Azariah the son of Obed, and Mahasiah the son of Adaiah, and Elishaphat the son of Zichri, and to covenant with him. And they went about in Judah, and gathered the Levites out of all the cities of Judah, and the chief of the fathers of Israel. And they came to Jerusalem. And all the congregation made a covenant with the king in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. And he said unto them, Behold, the king's son shall reign, as Mighty God AHAYAH has said of the sons of David. This is the thing that you should do. A third part of you entering on the Sabbath of the priests and of the Levites shall be porters of the doors. And a third part shall be at the king's house, and a third part at the gate of the foundation. And all the people shall be in the courts of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. But let none come into the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, save the priest, and they that minister of the Levites. They shall go in, for they are holy, but all the people shall keep the watch of Mighty God AHAYAH. And the Levites shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapons in his hand, and whosoever else cometh into the house, he shall be put to death. But be you with the king when you cometh in, and when he goeth out. So the Levites and all Judah did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest had commanded. and took every man his men that were to come in on the Sabbath, with them that were to go out on the Sabbath. For Jehoiada the priest dismissed not the courses. Moreover, Jehoiada the priest delivered to the captains of hundreds spears and bucklers and shields that had been King David's, which were in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. And he set all the people, every man having his weapon in his hand, from the right side of the temple to the left side of the temple, along by the altar and the temple, by the kings round about. Then they brought out the king's son, and put upon him the crown, and gave him the testimony, and made him king. And Jehoiada and his sons anointed him, and said, Mighty God AHAYAH, save the king. Now when Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and praising the king, she came to the people into the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. She looked, and behold, the king stood at his pillar at the entering in, and the princes and the trumpets by the king. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and sounded with trumpets, also the singers with instruments and of music, and such as taught to sing praise. Then Athaliah rent her clothes, and said, Treason, treason! Then Jehoiada the priest brought out the captains of hundreds that were set over the host, and said unto them, Have her forward of the ranges, and whosoever followed her, let him be slain with the sword. For the priest said, Slay her not in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. So they laid hands on her, and when she was come to the entering of the horse gate by the king's house, they slew her there. And Jehoiada made a covenant between him and between all the people, and between the king, that they should be Mighty God AHAYAH's people. Then all the people went to the house of Baal, and brake it down, and brake his altars and his images in pieces, and slew Mattan, the priest of Baal, before the altars. Also Jehoiada appointed the officers of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH by the hand of the priests, the Levites, whom David had distributed in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, to offer the burnt offerings of Mighty God AHAYAH, as it is written in the law of Moses, with rejoicing and with singing, as it was ordained by David. And he set the porters at the gates of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, that none which was unclean in anything should enter in. And he took the captains of hundreds, and the nobles, and the governors of the people, and all the people of the land, and brought down the king from the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. And they came through the high gate into the king's house, and set the king upon the throne of the kingdom. And all the people of the land rejoiced. The city was quiet, after that they had slain Athaliah with the sword. Chapter 24. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years in Jerusalem. His mother name also was Zebiah of Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of Mighty God AHAYAH all the days of Jehoiada the priest. And Jehoiada took for him 2 wives, and he begat sons and daughters. And it came to pass after this that Joash was minded to repair the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. And he gathered together the priests and the Levites, and said to them, Go out unto the cities of Judah, and gather all of Israel money to repair the house of your mighty God from year to year, and to see that you hasten the matter. Howbeit the Levites hastened it not. And the king called for Jehoiada the chief, and said unto him, Why hast thou not required of the Levites to bring in out of Judah and out of Jerusalem the collection, according to the commandment of Moses, the servant of Mighty God AHAYAH, and of the congregation of Israel, for the tabernacle of the witness? For the sons of Athaliah, that wicked woman, had broken up the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, and also all that dedicated things of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH did they bestow upon Balaam. And at the king's commandment they made a chest, and set it without at the gate of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. And they made a proclamation through Judah and Jerusalem to bring in to Mighty God AHAYAH the collection that Moses, the servant of Mighty God AHAYAH, laid upon Israel in the wilderness. And all the princes and all the people rejoiced, and brought in, and cast into the chest, until they had made an end. Now it came to pass that at what time the chest was brought into the king's office by the hand of the Levites. And when they saw that there was much money, the king's scribes and the high priest's officers came and emptied the chest, and took it, and carried it to his place again. Thus they did day by day, and gathered money in abundance. The king of Jehoiada gave it to such as did the work of the service of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, and hired masons and carpenters to repair the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, and also such as wrought iron and brass to mend the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. So the workmen wrought, and the work was perfected by them. And they set the house of Mighty God AHAYAH in his state, and strengthened it. And when they had finished it, they brought the rest of the money before the king and Jehoiada, whereof were made vessels for the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, even vessels to minister and to offer withal, the spoons and vessels of gold and silver. And they offered burnt offerings in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH continually all the days of Jehoiada. But Jehoiada waxed old and was full of days when he died. 130 years old was he when he died. And they buried him in the city of David among the kings, because he had done good in Israel, both toward Mighty God AHAYAH and toward his house. Now after the death of Jehoiada came the princes of Judah, and made obeisance to the king. Then the king hearkened unto them. And they left the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, their Elohim, of their fathers, and served groves and idols. And wrath came upon Judah and Jerusalem for their trespasses, and for this their trespass. Yet he sent prophets to them, to bring them again into Mighty God AHAYAH, and they testified against them, but they would not give ear. And the spirit of Mighty God AHAYAH came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, Thus said Mighty God AHAYAH, Why transgress you the commandments of Mighty God AHAYAH, that you cannot prosper? Because you have forsaken AHAYAH, he had also forsaken you. And they conspired against him, and stoned him with stones at the commandment of the king in the court of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. Thus Joash the king remembered not the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done to him, but slew his son. And when he died, he said, Mighty God AHAYAH, look upon it, and require it. It came to pass at the end of the year that the host of Syria came up against him, and they came to Judah and Jerusalem, and destroyed all the princes of the people from among the people, and sent all the spoil of them unto the king of Damascus. For the army of the Syrians came with a small company of men, and Mighty God AHAYAH delivered a very great host into their hand, because they had forsaken Mighty God AHAYAH, the Elohim of their fathers. So they executed judgment against Joash. And when they were departed from him, for they left him in great diseases, his own servants conspired against him for the blood of the sons of Jehoiada the priest, and slew him on his bed, and he died. And they buried him in the city of David, but they buried him not in the sepulchres of the kings. And these are they that conspired against him: Zabad the son of Shemaath, an Ammonitist, and Jehozabad the son of Shimrith of the Moabites. Now concerning his sons and the greatness of the burdens laid upon him, and the repairing of the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, behold, they are written in the story of the book of the kings. And Amaziah his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 25. Amaziah went 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother name was Jehoadan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Mighty God AHAYAH, but not with a perfect heart. Now it came to pass, when the kingdom was established to him, that he slew his servants that had killed the king his father. But he slew not their children, but he did as it is written in the law of the book of Moses, where Mighty God AHAYAH commanded, saying, The fathers shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for the fathers, but every man shall die for his own sin. Moreover, Amaziah gathered Judah together and made them captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, according to the houses of their fathers, throughout all Judah and Benjamin. And he numbered them from 20 years old and above, and found them 300,000 choice men, able to go forth to war, that could handle spear and shield. And he hired also 100,000 mighty men of valor out of Israel for 100 talents of silver. But there came a man of Mighty God AHAYAH to him, saying, O king, let not the army of Israel go with thee, for Mighty God AHAYAH is not with Israel, to with all the children of Ephraim. But if thou wilt go, do it be strong for the battle. Mighty God AHAYAH shall make thee fall before the enemy, for Mighty God AHAYAH had power to help and to cast down. And Amaziah said to the man of God, But what shall we do for the 100 talents which I have given to the army of Israel? The man of Mighty God AHAYAH answered, Mighty God AHAYAH is able to give thee much more than this. Then Amaziah separated them, to wit, the army that was come to him out of Ephraim, to go home again. Wherefore their anger was greatly kindled against Judah, and they returned home in great anger. And Amaziah strengthened himself, and led forth his people, and went to the valley of the salt, and smote of the children of Seir 10,000. And other 10,000 left alive did the children of Judah carry away captive, and brought them unto the top of the rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, that they all were broken in pieces. But the soldiers of the army which Amaziah sent back, that they should not go with him to battle, fell upon the cities of Judah, from Samaria even into Beth-horon, and smote 3,000 of them, and took much spoil. Now it came to pass after that Amaziah was come from the slaughter of the Edomites, that he brought the gods of the children of Seir, and set them up to be his gods, and bowed down himself before them, and burned incense unto them. Wherefore the anger of Mighty God AHAYAH was kindled against Amaziah, and he sent unto him a prophet, which said unto him, Why hast thou sought after the gods of the people, which could not deliver their own people out of thine hand? And it came to pass that he talked with him, that the king said unto him, Art thou made of the king counsel? Forbear, why shouldest thou be smitten? Then the prophet forbare, and said, I know that Mighty God AHAYAH had determined to destroy thee, because thou hast done this, and hast not hearkened unto my counsel. And Amaziah king of Judah took advice, and sent to Joash the son of Jehoahaz, the son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, Come, let us see one another in the face. And Joash king of Israel sent to Amaziah king of Judah, saying, The thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, Give thy daughter to my son to wife. And there passed by a wild beast that was in Lebanon, and trode down the thistle. Thou sayest, Lo, thou hast smitten the Edomites, and thine heart lifted thee up to boast. Abide now at home. Why shouldest thou meddle to thine hurt, that thou shouldest fall, even though and Judah with thee? But Amaziah would not hear, for it came of Mighty God AHAYAH that he might deliver them into the hand of their enemies, because they sought after the gods of Edom. So Joash the king of Israel went up, and they saw one another in the face. But he and Amaziah king of Judah and Beth-shemesh, which belonged to Judah. Judah was put to the worst before Israel, and they fled every man to his tent. And Joash the king of Israel took Amaziah king of Judah, the son of Joash, the son of Jehoahaz, and Beth-shemesh, and brought him to Jerusalem, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem, from the gate of Ephraim to the corner gate 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and the silver, and all the vessels that were found in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH with Obed-edom, and the treasurers of the king's house, and the hostages also, and returned to Samaria. And Amaziah the son of Joash king of Judah lived after the death of Joash son of Jehoahaz king of Israel 15 years. Now the rest of the acts of Amaziah, first and last, behold, are they not written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel? Now after the time that Amaziah did turn after from following Mighty God AHAYAH, they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish. But they sent to Lachish after him and slew him there. And they brought him upon horses and buried him with his fathers in the city of Judah. Chapter 26, the last chapter for today. And all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old, and made him king in the room of his father's Amaziah. He built Eloth and restored it to Judah. After that the king slept with his fathers. 16 years old was Uzziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Jechaliah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Mighty God AHAYAH, according to all that his father Amaziah did. And he sought Mighty God AHAYAH in the days of Zechariah, who had understanding in the visions of Mighty God AHAYAH. And as long as he sought Mighty God AHAYAH, his Elohim made him to prosper. And he went forth and warred against the Philistines, and brake down the wall of Gath, and the wall of Jebnah, and the wall of Ashdod, and built cities about Ashdod and among the Philistines. And Mighty God AHAYAH helped him against the Philistines, and against the Arabians that dwelt in Gerbaal. And the Mehunims, and the Ammonites gave gifts to Uzziah, and his name spread abroad even into the entering in of Egypt, for he strengthened himself exceedingly. Moreover, Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate, and at the valley gate, and the turning of the wall, and fortified them. Also he built towers in the desert, and digged many wells, for he had much cattle both in the low country and in the plains, husbandmen also, and vine dressers in the mountains and in Carmel, for he loved husbandry. Moreover, Uzziah had an host of fighting men that went out to war by bands, according to the number of their account, by the hand of Jeiel the scribe, and Maasah the ruler, under the hand of Hananiah, one of the king's captains. The whole number of the chief of the fathers of the mighty men of valor were 2,600, and under their hand was an army 300,000 and 7,000 and 500 that made war with mighty power to help the king against the enemy. And Uzziah prepared for them throughout all the host shields and spears and helmets and habergeons and bows and slings to cast stones. And he made Jerusalem engines, invented by cunning men, to be on the towers and upon the bulwarks, to shoot arrows and great stones withal. And his name spread far abroad, for he was marvelously helped till he was strong. But when he was strong, his heart was lifted up to his destruction, for he transgressed against Mighty God AHAYAH, his Elohim, and went into the temple of Mighty God AHAYAH to burn incense upon the altar of incense. And Azariah the priest went in after him, and with him 80 priests of Mighty God AHAYAH. There were valiant men. And they withstood Uzziah the king, and said unto him, It appertaineth not unto thee, Uzziah, to burn incense unto Mighty God AHAYAH, but to the priests, the sons of Aaron, that are consecrated to burn incense. Go out of the sanctuary, for thou hast trespassed. Neither shall it be for thine honor from Mighty God AHAYAH El Elohim. Then Uzziah was wroth, and had a censer in his hand to burn incense. And while he was wroth with the priest, the leprosy even rose up in his forehead before the priest in the house of Mighty God AHAYAH, from beside the incense altar. And Azariah the chief priest and all the priests looked upon him, and behold, he was leprous in his forehead. And they thrust him out from thence. Himself hasted also to go out, because Mighty God AHAYAH had smitten him. And Uzziah the king was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house, being a leper, for he was cut off from the house of Mighty God AHAYAH. And Jotham his son was over the king's house, judging the people of the land. Now the rest of the acts of Uzziah, first and last, did Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, wrote. So Uzziah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with the fathers in the field of the burial which belonged to the kings. For they said, he is a leper, and Jotham his son reigned in his stead. And we're going to stop at that. Thank you for listening.